May I pay tribute to the member for Pontypridd for the emotional and personal tales that she just told. I think it's so important to share those, but also to say them in this chamber must take a lot of courage. So I really welcome her doing that, because I'm sure there's many people at home that will be watching this who will have gone through similar experiences. And may I also pay tribute to Right Honourable Member for Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkconnell East, hopefully correctly said this time, for bringing this bill in. You know, private members' bills are not something that always get through to this round, and it's very easy for them to fall much earlier in the stage than today. And actually, this is a bill that I know from hearing testimonies in the previous debates in the committee, and also from speaking to members of the public, including constituents of mine, that this has a real personal take on their lives. And when it comes to neonatal care, I think it really brings to life the power that bringing to life brings to our lives. Having children is one of the most, if not the most, precious thing that we can do for those of us who are fortunate to have had children. And I remember in my own time, fortunately we didn't have to go through the need of neonatal care, but I do remember when my own daughter was born in Watford General, the emotions run so high, and this fear for this precious, fragile, wonderful person that we've brought into our lives, and the fear that something could go wrong, and to know that there are those who've had to go through the distress of something actually going wrong, must be so challenging and so difficult to deal with. And that's why this bill is so important, because every year, I understand, looking at the statistics, there are 624,828 births in England and Wales, and 13,500 in Hertfordshire, according to the ONS. But every year, over 90,000 babies are cared for in neonatal units in the UK due to premature birth or full term or maybe sick. That's a huge number, but that isn't just those children, that's their parents, it's their families, it's all of those that need to wrap the care around. And the idea that one wouldn't be able to spend time with their child in those precious few days in that first couple of weeks, to be able to not just be there for the child, but also be there for their loved ones, for their spouse, to make sure that actually they can put the thing that they probably go to work for is put first, and not work that's put first. Now, I appreciate colleagues quite rightly challenge and quite rightly scrutinise what the impact this is on the business and on organisations, because of course there are burdens, if we can call them those, that are placed on businesses, but actually the burden of having a member of your staff or member of your team who is desperately worried about their newborn child whilst being at work, that can't be very productive, it can't be helpful for them doing their job. So actually I would say that it isn't a burden to enable this bill to go through and to follow these rules. It's actually something that will help their business, and it will help build their morale, it will help build their team, it will help make sure that they are being productive. And that's why this bill is so important, because the truth of the bill is that sometimes we hope that we hope that society will do the right thing. And often that is the case. We'll be talking about the TIPS bill in the second session today, which is a good example of that. But actually they don't always do the right thing. And this law will make sure that there's a support there for families. It will make sure that there's support there for the babies as well. But also it will make sure that businesses know that when it comes to family life that's at the heart of this country, that there is the right for that worker to take time off to look after that family member and that child. Now, I was looking up some statistics when researching for today, because as I mentioned earlier, I've been very fortunate to speak in the previous sessions, and incredibly, the numbers are quite high in terms of the toll that has an impact on families and parents. So 2 in 5, so 40% of parents of hospitalised babies have anxiety or post-traumatic stress. Levels decline over time, but a year after birth, 1 in 4 was still suffering. This is higher than generally seen in new parents. And the truth is, this goes to the heart of mental health as well. And next week I'll be bringing a 10-minute rule bill on mental health, first aid in the workplace, just to give that a small plug. So you're all welcome to join in on that. But the reason why I say is actually mental health, I think people are far more aware today than they've ever been of the importance of mental health and mental well-being in the workplace. And so when you know that when one knows that 2 in 5 parents of hospitalised babies have anxiety or post-traumatic stress, that's a huge number, you know. And I think when you then look at the fact that that can trigger depression, it can have long-term impact. So that first couple of weeks, so that first few days of being able to be there for your loved one and to be there for the child, actually will reduce the risk of long-term impact. It will reduce the risk of long-term anxiety. It will reduce the risk of long-term depression, because that can also have an impact on people's relationships. And those that I've spoken to who've been very supportive of this bill all talk of the fact that this isn't an isolated 2 weeks, 3 weeks is over and that's it. You have your child and suddenly life gets back to normal. It doesn't. When you've got a young child, actually the worries about the anxieties of what that will bring in the future are incredibly strong, and they can linger for years, and they can damage relationships, they can have harm on other children that are in the family as well. And one other point to make as well is that, as I understand it, the average length of stay in neonatal care in England and Wales is 7 days. So again, this bill will do a huge amount to make sure that that first week or two parents can be supported, that they don't have to worry that they're going to damage their career opportunities. It won't mean that it will mean that they won't need to worry that they have to go cap in hand to their bosses to ask for what really is a family right in this country. So I won't talk too long on this, but what I would like to say is just a huge thank you to members across this House for supporting this. I think it's such an important part to show that this country is a country that cares about family, it cares about children, and that builds a better society and builds a better community. So thank you for indulging me to speak today, and I wholeheartedly support this bill. Thank you.